Hello and welcome to Calm, Cool, and Crafted. I am AJ. You can call me Apple Juice. Today we are doing kind of a special episode. This is a project that I've been working on for about 115 hours. The gloves go on. These are compression gloves to help keep my hands from aching as we work through a blanket. This video will not be posted until this has been given to my brother and his fiance as a wedding present. And this thing is very large, so we have been going for quite some time on this. I have probably another 35 hours of work to do on this, so I figure I'm going to do this video just to get to talk about it. I want to collect my own thoughts on it anyway. And then I'd like to do one as I'm finishing the project. I think it'd be very fun to get to show you all a completed project as opposed to the bits and pieces along the way. So, without further ado, let's just jump into where we are here today. So, I'm working this pattern. Who made this pattern actually? I bought this a while back. Daisy and Peace. And love that it's a variety of stitches because I don't like having to do the same exact stitch pattern constantly. There's a point where it becomes fatiguing, especially over a long project like this gigantic blanket, where it's like my mental sanity. I need the variety. Because there are points even in this pattern, even with all the variety, where I'm going, man, I cannot wait to be done with this section. So presently I'm at the top of my 7th go through of the entire set of the pattern. Total, I need to, no, 8th, sorry. I've completed 7. I am on the start of my 8th set, and I need to complete 9 total. So that's why it is looking like it's going to be a little while. This section of the blanket uses what's called a moss stitch, but this is a gap moss stitch. So instead, some people who are familiar with it will understand that, like, usually you'd alternate what goes into what. This one, you're stacking it on top of each other. So it makes for kind of a nice square pattern. I really like. I'm hoping that my phone up here, I'll switch to that, can catch just kind of a nice square shaping. There's these even gaps among it. I like it. But you can see kind of the entire set of what we're working on. It's fascinating. So I know in one of the first episodes that I did, I talked about finishing big projects, and I think it's actually the first one I posted of finding like the right home for projects after you've spent so much time on them, and how sometimes that's changed. And obviously, this was a very purpose driven project. I have until August 8th for this. So I'm very much looking forward to getting to wrap up this project because time's running out. As I'm recording this, it is, what, June 4th? So very shortly after, this would be right after, for those of you who've been watching all along, the video that I did starting a scarf for one of my D&D players. And this has been I started this project back in December, so I'm making great progress. However, it is so far we're 6 months into this project, and it is wild to think like the thousands and thousands of stitches that have gone into it, all of the hours that I've put into a project like this. And although some sections of this may be, I guess I would say, fatiguing in their own way, I still have felt very energized the entire time as I've done this project in particular. It's not one that I've ever hit a point of, gosh, I'm just over it, which I was working on a table runner project for D&D, and I think I was talking about this in that scarf episode, was it doing lace type work where you're having to chain off and reconnect and build that as opposed to building like a denser fabric like this. I was not as keen on that. And so it's been nice to have a project where I've not felt avoidant of picking it up when I have the time. Obviously, work allowing, it's like, okay, it's something I can do kind of in meetings, put to the side. I mean, right now we're making a big show of having it draped on the bed because I think that just looks more interesting. Usually, it has turned into a tangled mess. Um, I imagine a large part of it is just I really care about them, and there's only going to be one instance of this happening. I don't foresee them ever falling out with one another. They've been together so long already. I'm just excited to get to like celebrate this activity. And so getting to put in a lot of time really isn't that daunting in the scheme of things for me. It's just been harder when they've stayed with me, and by the time the wedding has happened, they'll stayed with me twice, and so having to hide a project of this size in the house and still be able to work on it during the window that they're in town makes it more challenging. Uh, but it's something it's been really fascinating to reflect on as I work through this project. That it being longer has not driven the fatigue, where again, not even just the lace one, but other projects that I've done very much have brought me to a point where I was feeling just over it by the time that I was done. And this project, substantially longer than anything else that I've done, and it really has not been at all a bore to work on. So I don't know. It makes me curious about what other things that I'll end up choosing to do in just the list of larger crafting activities. Because this, I don't anticipate that I'm going to be doing a lot of these large projects for others as far as like a regular thing. Uh, this took a substantial enough amount of time that I don't want to uh, have it feel like I need to have certain things done before a given timeline. It's it makes it difficult for me to feel okay putting time into other crafts, and now with doing things to share with you all. It's things that I want to do. It's not just me picking up things for the sake of throwing things at the wall. It's stuff that I want to do, and hopefully you enjoy getting to watch them. Uh, but it makes it a little bit difficult when nagging in the back of my mind is knowing that this project's got to get done, and it has a date that it needs to be done by. Obviously, it wouldn't be the end of the world if this wasn't completed. They've asked for nothing, and that's precisely why they get way more. is that they haven't asked for anything. Uh, and I mean, it's like it's my only brother. I want to make sure that I celebrate it to the high heavens and back. And so it's something where I'm like, the amount of time is immaterial to the project as a whole. Um, and so it's something that I hope that they get a lot of use out. I'd rather that this gets beat to hell, just that it has been so heavily used and loved that not that I'd want them to not take care of it, but there is a point where, fibers are going to fall apart, and that's okay. The purpose wasn't to be something that outlives us all. Everything's going to have a shelf life. I just hope that it's well loved and well used. So, the end product here will be a king size blanket. It'll probably be slightly larger than a standard king size based off of where the measurements have been shaking out to presently. And I am a-okay with having a little extra. I'm a little extra. Presently, it's Pride Month. That feels correct. So The goal is that I finish up the actual main stitching portion, and then I'm going to stitch a border, which I've not decided exactly how I want to do that. So I still have to decide how I want to stitch that border up. This is a blend yarn, so it's not a natural yarn only. It does have acrylic mixed in. So yes, we can complain here and there about the quality of acrylic. With the size of this blanket, please forgive me for not spending an exorbitant amount of money on yarn. Uh, when between Florida and Arizona, the frequency of which a large, heavy, and very warm blanket is not as needed. Uh, so we're gonna live with that and proceed with this blanket. The the thing I feel like I'm most excited about in this is just uh obviously finishing it. Yes, that'll be an exciting moment, but I think it's nicer to give gifts when they're not expected. And not that a wedding is a time when you would not expect a gift, but for a lot of the family and whatnot, it is travel. For me, it is not doing hosting duties and other things like that just to help make it easier. But it's something that it feels more personal. It's not going to be handed out at the wedding. It'll be something that I'll hand to them separately from that because it's not to make it a show. It's something that I want from me to them as a very personal gift and sign of affection. And who knows, maybe you're listening along at some point after your wedding and you are enjoying getting to hear my recaps of this process from months ago before the day and brings you some joy or a little love to you. So hope you're having a great day. Um, but it does make me excited to think about the other things that will open up as I get to move on from just such a large project. Like having 35 hours to put into learning a new craft like knitting, which will have come out by then as well, probably. That's the next video that I'm filming after this recording here. Not the same day, but another day here in that same window. And I'm very much looking forward to getting to pick up that craft. I want to return to my embroidery project because I want to work on that. I've done nothing since that video, and I recorded that video probably back in March or so. So it's been a long while since I've gotten to pick up some of these crafts that are things that I really would like to do. I have other gift ideas. There's things that I want to learn how to do even within crochet, whether it's stuffed animals, because I have some ideas for that, uh, as well as making like a pillow for a friend. I want to make myself a pillow using jasmine stitches because I like to suffer and I want to practice. I feel like jasmine stitches are the best way to know if you're keeping consistent tension because, oh my god, carrying. I know that people who knit and whatnot are used to having a lot of stitches on their hook, and Tunisian crochet can as well. But it's a little different when it's pull through 21 loops at a time and trying to keep that straight and looking orderly. Uh, it is testing, and I want a pillow with it. That way, anyone who crochets sees it and understands the flex of what is in my house. Uh, and I think it also is just a really nice looking stitch. So I am looking forward to putting together a project for that. I do need to find a yarn that I love. That's the most important thing for me with a project like that is that I feel like some yarns are just so much better to work with. It makes such a difference to have, in a sense, tools that you really enjoy getting to work with for a project. It can just make it so much more enjoyable. I think most people in the fiber arts world know the feeling of when you have a yarn that's really working with the hook that you're working with, or if you're doing knitting with your needles, that just it flows. It's really easy to work with. That's part of what's made this yarn work great. It's one of the Impeccable brand yarns, or not Impeccable, sorry, the Impeccable line of yarns by Loops and Threads, I believe. And it's just when it gets moving and, the yarn leaving the skein, because I'm doing center pulls, because as we discussed before, I do not care about the spin it adds or removes depending on the direction of the yarn. I'm just so cozy to get to like punch out row after row when I can in the span of a given week. So I'm very much a fan of having the right things for the right projects. And for a pillow that has a difficult stitch, I need yarn that is less prone to having me split it as I'm trying to pull through that many loops. It's it's a lot, and keeping it very balanced and having it look right, for lack of a better term, is a lot more important to me in that. Not that this isn't important, but that it's going to be the thing that makes or breaks my enjoyment of a project like that. Where even the bandana or scarf project, when we like to kind of consider it to be, recorded right before this one, that cotton yarn is still very hard to work with. It's difficult when you get into a project with yarn where, again, cotton has pretty much no stretch. I don't want to say that it's literally zero, because it does have some, but it's far less than the give that you feel with like a wool yarn, and it's much harder on the hands. And so like the feel of pulling stitches is not that satisfying compared to other things. So that's a project where I feel like uh, maybe I'm done with it by the time that you're seeing this video. I'm not sure. I'll probably record a part two as I get into the yellow section of it, maybe when I'm near the end, just so that I can kind of show off as we finish that project. I'd like to show you all the ends of projects. I know that our first couple of episodes did not include that, and so I've been having to go in and make sure that I include photos or other things that would be almost to serve as context for what was done, what I got to make, and show what that was. Just because some things require multiple parts, and not that I'm opposed to doing multiple parts, but I want to keep providing variety, partly for me, partly for you. That different crafts make me think of substantially different things in my life. Some of it is pushing my own boundaries for my self expression, like through jewelry making. So, in that kind of body chain video, it was very interesting to get to explore something that I really never had considered to be something that I would ever wear, and try and find a way to make it feel like me and something that was fitted to me. It obviously I made it for myself, so it's fitted for me. And I think that crochet is something that I've done enough for me, and I generally run really warm as a person, so having all of this fabric sitting in my lap really is something um, that I've kind of made it through a lot of what it is that I wanted to make for myself. Not everything, but it's a lot. Uh, that oftentimes crochet has become almost a more passive activity. It's obviously slower when I'm recording a video and talking and doing other things. But 20 to 30 minutes for a row is not terrible. Uh, and just kind of cozy to move along and just do whatever it is. Throw on some TV, or listen to some music, listen to some podcasts, whatever it's going to be, and just kind of enjoy an almost meditative process for myself now. And I like getting to push those boundaries. Like embroidery makes me really think about, at least the project that we were seeing with the denim jacket. It is so much agency and freedom in what it is that I do and how I choose to express through stitches an image or an idea of something that I want to show. And that's very different than how I've approached crochet, where I'm often following patterns for that. It's not that I've never make a pattern. I have not made one yet. But I'm not sure what it is that I'd want. Maybe a shirt. I'm not 100% sure there. And maybe that's something that we do a video on at some point down the road. But for now, it's it's something where I go, oh, okay, this is the task that I get to spend some time making something that I care about for people, and having a pattern just makes it kind of a mind off task. So those mind on tasks for crochet become quite enjoyable. Uh, Now I'm noticing that my count is looking a little bit odd for my app. So I'm just going to do a quick recount for which row I am on, because I had to pull things into this tablet. The tablet's not updated because the cell phone is recording. And so I need to make sure that I have the right amount of rows. So this was our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is why reading is important, kids. Okay, we're good. And so each time that I get to pick up a new craft feels like almost like getting to do some of the New York Times daily puzzles and things like that, where I am getting to force myself to learn new things, build some new pathways in the neural network of my brain. And so it's nice to get to flex those muscles a little bit. I am very much a person who enjoys knowledge and learning, so I just find it fun when it's like, oh, I get to learn something new. And I think one of the things that I've really considered as a potential future for this channel is getting to bring other people that I know who do various forms of art. Either get to pay them for a class and have them kind of teach me what it is that they know, uh, and get to chat with them and just hear about what things that they care about with art, their experiences, and uh, kind of build up a different sense of curiosity for, and maybe a sensibility within the scope of art through just people that I already do know. Uh, or maybe it's just getting to do crafts even with someone else, almost like an interview style, and just kind of chat and have it be. It's not going to be exactly the same as this vibe, but obviously keeping that the spirit of that going. Of, we're just here to chat, talk about things that matter to us. I know that today was an interesting one. Had just some discussions. I think it's interesting to look on what matters in my kind of immediate life as I keep making changes, because what am I doing if I'm not trying to change things, apparently? And though I always hope that that's towards growth, everyone should be continuing to grow. I hope that all of you are finding ways for yourself to grow in ways that you like. And one of those things has been being more present within my own body. It's like there are parts of being present that I can say I feel, but in like some days you're driving and you just feel really snapped in, where you're like, oh, I'm really seeing the everything, the full picture. Uh, and it's kind of great. You're like, oh, I'm driving down the road and I just feel like I'm really seeing the depth of the trees and feeling how big the space is and the people going by. And it's something that I want to be more mindful of and kind of present for. It's not going to be on all the time. Let's be real. That would be crazy. That's just almost overloading. But the ability to turn that on and just go like, oh, let's just be really here in the moment. I mean, part of this channel feels like a practice in that, of going, okay, yes, I'm doing an activity, but I'm also chatting with you. We're gonna hang out. And that's something that I want to keep building and fostering, uh, looking at my own kind of goals for myself. And so that's been like a recent reflection for something that I want. Yeah, so something that where I can feel more connected in is something that I'll really value, and I think that some of that's going to start just internally. Uh, like I, it's it takes so much work at times to have to learn things that you've really never put that effort into. Like if it's something physical, I'm pretty darn good at picking those things up. I don't mind the struggle of having to build a motor skill and get the muscle memory going and deal with having to improve my own dexterity. That's great. It's difficult when it's more of a in my own head I need to just be better about being active in playing the role of being present as opposed to uh, hoping that that builds passively. Uh, so it's just practice. And sometimes practice is hard. It's difficult to feel, like motivated or even sometimes just remembering in the chaos of life itself. So it's something that it has to be thought of and placed as a priority regularly for me. And I think everyone experiences that differently from one another. We all have different things that help us feel present. Some people that is yoga or meditation. Some people that's going on walks. Uh, for others, it might be like cooking or gardening or things. And I think there is almost a journey in and of itself to find those types of places where you can practice that for yourself, where it feels like almost rewarding. I need to get that reward instinct going. I train myself like a dog out here. Get it right. And eh. And I think that that's something that's going to be pivotal in wherever it is that I take things in the future, whether that's in building friendships and making sure that I'm more present for them. Because not that I don't show up, but it's something where I could just be a little bit more present for myself. I can tell if I'm not 100% there, and it makes a difference in how I feel at the end of the day. And I think I'd find it more rewarding to be all the way there. So, there's a lot of future goals. We'll see. I know that for the embroidery side of things, I think that right now has been the thing that has required the most presence from myself. Obviously, you're holding a needle, which is very different than like I'm holding a dull hook here, or even knitting, where, yes, while we call it a knitting needle, it is not nearly so sharp and stabby as an embroidery needle or a sewing needle. So that's something that I would like to maybe utilize as like an activity to practice some of that. And when the weather gets better, maybe gardening. Who knows? Maybe we do a little gardening video as I kind of take care of plants and chat with you all. Because this fall I am getting plants back in the ground. We're not planting that during the summer here in Arizona. I am not motivated by having cantaloupes or cucumbers or things like that presently. But I would like to get some more herbs in the ground, get some tomatoes in the ground, and figure out what else. I like green onions. That was fun to plant and grow. So, and then I want to try potatoes this year, both sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. So, we have a list. We got things to do. And, separately through travels or in activities like choir, which I know we've already talked about aplenty, but I think that challenging myself in a space that, well, it requires a lot out of me and trying to get out of my head a little bit more is a different place to measure that ability to be present. And I think it'll be helpful to have a different approach for the different spaces. Nothing is going to be exactly one to the same. But just know that there's a different amount of me that needs to go into some of these activities. Like, so my choir, this, we have a Northern Arizona tour, and I've ended up doing most of the planning and organization for that, between calling different locations, which mostly ends up being churches, to try and put on free concerts for people uh, in Northern Arizona. And so, certainly by the time that this video comes out, that'll have already happened. I'll probably have talked about it in a video that is aired before this one. Uh, but it's something that I put a lot of time into to try and help make it go. It's something I wanted to do to spend time with people that I enjoy getting to hang out with and uh, foster that sense of community and connectedness and getting to actually spend time with one another. So it, but it hit a point where I really had put in a lot of time and energy towards this activity. And trying to do this at that same time, since this was occurring at the same time I was kind of starting the process of recording and editing videos, and has been a slightly long haul activity starting back in April of getting discussions going. And to have it come together, we were hitting the point where it's like we're 2 to 3 weeks out. There's things that I can't control that are part of this that really just need to be left to the organization. I can only go so far and can make decisions on behalf of other people about what things they're comfortable with. And drawing my own line in the sand, going, hey, I've done everything that I possibly can to really try and make this go. And I have set up multiple venues, and like there are pieces that are missing I can't close the gap on. And to really be okay leaving it in someone else's hands, even though it's something that I feel like I've been putting a lot of time and effort into. Uh, Kind of comes back into that idea of just, I need to be mindful and connected to myself and how I'm feeling about that. It's easy to just feel like I started it, so I have to finish it all the way, and handing it off to someone else is like handing off a problem, and now I'm burdening them with a partial product, something that's not all the way done. As opposed to look at how far I've been able to help get things to, and now I'm handing off something that's most of the way done. It feels very cup half empty versus cup half full. But being okay that if things don't work out and come together and form in the way that I really wanted them to and could have been as great as they were if things had wrapped up and been packaged together sooner. But I have a lot of things that I do in my life. Unfortunately, I would love it if I could spend all of the quantity of time that I would ever want on the things that I do care about and give all of them all of the time that I want. It would be incredible, the power that I would wield if I could do that. Right? It's like, oh, I could be helping to manage coordinating all these other activities and fostering these relationships for my choir, for this channel, and get to go travel and get to meet other people who are excellent in their own crafts. There's a lot of people that I really enjoy getting to watch their process with art. I would say I don't consume a ton of content that's similar to what it is that I do, but so I don't know what else may be out there. But I do love on my social media that it kind of knows that my things are going to be, you're going to send me roller coaster content and art. That's kind of the main things that I wind up wanting to see on social media. And I mean, maybe I need to make a crochet pattern for like a roller coaster shirt. I don't know how to do that, but that's going to tie in more towards tapestry crochet. Unless there's a really easy way for me to create a minimalist form of a coaster. I would be surprised if I could find a way to do that, but uh, maybe that's the pattern I eventually create on this channel. And we worked together on that one, its own process. Uh, but for now, I kind of keep that as its own activity and I get to go hang out. And so I'm very much looking forward to spending time at Cedar Point and Michigan's Adventure, and I have another trip to Six Flags Magic Mountain booked, and I need to go back to Knott's, so I'm looking at that for the Christmas window, and there's a lot to get to look forward to there, and so the crafting side of the world becomes the different form of exploration. One's an adventure that I feel very physically I'm less in control, and then crafting, I'm in control, even though a lot of times it feels very out of control when I'm trying to pick up an activity and learn how to do it. And it's something that I think it makes a difference having just the very wild contrast. And then you have things like sports that I enjoy getting to play, or getting to go take part in other activities that variety makes it a little bit more fun. So I'm it's something that I can't wait to see where things go, and hopefully following those things just brings me to the place that I feel I really want to land. Uh, but for now, we're gonna keep putting pedal to the metal. Just we're gonna learn things. Summer is gonna be the window where, even though I have a lot of travel, uh, I also have less on my plate on a regular basis, week to week. So I would like to spend a little bit of time getting to hopefully pick up new crafts, spend the time to research out what it is. Because even within crochet, I have not done Tunisian crochet. I've only ever made one singular plush item. Uh, those are things that I would like to learn more about so that I can at least understand and speak to them. I know that I was mentioning a friend and I working on making kind of like a room counting app. It'll help me to tie into those things and learn and make sure I understand what things different forms of the craft would need in particular. And, I have materials for a lot of those things to get done. I have most of the stuff already to hand, so it probably helped me to get through my stash. Which, if I ever did a second video a week, it would probably be a stash busting type activity of just, here's this week's stash bust item that I'm gonna go make. Whether that's a hat, because I do like getting to make those brimmed caps, and it's just easy for me to sit down, push one of them out. I don't know. Maybe we sell those eventually. I don't want to step on any toes there, since a friend of mine made that pattern and he's, I know, looking to sell them online. So maybe that's something I can sell in person. I need to talk to him about it. Um, we don't live in the same state, so it's not something that we're like local competitors or something. It's just I want to make sure that I'm being responsible with handling something that someone else made, who I do know, and that matters to me. But there's plenty of projects that need doing. Like the pillow one is a Christmas project for a friend, kind of. And I want to make sure that I spend an appropriate amount of time to get that done, because it is going to require an appropriate amount of time. Because I've not really had to do it before. I don't know if I've not had to read crochet charts, so there is a learning curve there, and I need to spend some time learning how to read those charts. I don't think it'll be horrible to learn, but more of just it takes time. Anytime you're going to learn something new, it takes some time. Uh, and I think the being bad about it is just part of that process. Like, I don't think my embroidery on my denim jacket is going to be some stunning miracle thing. Like, the things people can do with embroidery is incredible on social media. There's one post in particular, I do not remember who it was by. They make almost like a shadow box, like 3D style embroidery, where they are embroidering on mesh, and then they sew their multiple hoops together at the end to layer all of them. So you have depth into their project, and they usually put like a felt backing on it. That's incredible. It's so great looking, and like, I would love to be able to do embroidery at the speed where that looks feasible. Because for me right now, as you saw in that video, I finished what a petal in like 40 minutes, and that's not even a whole petal. That was just the bright color on the outside of the petal. I'm sure there's ways that I could be doing it better or faster, but I don't know, I'm just learning. We're gonna figure out through feel what actually works, and it's gonna be like, I don't want to call it mediocre, but the mediocrity is part of the greatness of it. It's the proof that we're learning. If I was good at it from the start, why would it matter? We have made it to row 10 for this set because this is the starting row down here. So we are now switching to a different stitch, which is one that I've had to learn to appreciate, for lack of a better term. Uh, it is a yarn over slip stitch where I have to yarn over and then I'm going into the back loop only, and then I'm pulling up and then going through immediately, which just feels very awkward to get started on any given row. We're actually going to undo that one because the tension was a little bit bad. It has felt awkward, and now that we've spent 100 and something hours on this project, each section ends with this stitch. So it has kind of become a place where I will often end for the day. And today that's going to happen more by circumstance of timing rather than intention. It has become much easier to work through, even though you see me suffering now, trying just to get room for me to put my stitch marker. Which, if you are not using stitch markers for a project of this size, that's crazy. I have had to learn, rather than having to recount every row, because I did make mistakes early on, there is one row somewhere back here that on this row that has these like puff textures. I missed one. It is shorter. Uh, we're gonna pretend like that never happened. I was several hours past that point when things were slightly off, and I went, I don't understand what just happened. I'm not making it to the end of the rows, and I was not using these internal stitch markers across the thing. The ones on the end I was, but the ones inside of the blanket here, where I'm marking these are my 50 stitch markers. So each time that I go across, it's 314 stitches. Uh, Being able to keep track of that and knowing how each of the different patterns lines up, because this was in like row the set 2 or 3 of the entire blanket pattern. I had not learned yet exactly where things needed to land on a regular basis, and boy howdy, it was not fun to have to try and basically kind of fudge one extra stitch in an earlier row to give me room and then build it back up. Uh, it's fine. It only messed up, I think, like really 3 or 4 rows in total. So, in the scope of it, when each set of rows is what, 36 rows, we're fine. It's not going to be really noticeable over a king size blanket distance. But it is something where I go, yeah, that's the human part of this project. There are some places where I've had to fudge some stitches. I had one of these rows with this kind of cross stitching that's very textured and layered on top. I don't know what happened. I started one of the rows and I did not connect one of the sides of that. What a choice. I don't know how I arrived at that conclusion. Uh, but I think it was in this last set that I'd done. So then I had to go back and I forget where I hit it. It's not on this side. I'm pretty sure it's on the opposite side of the blanket, so the far end of this. And I just kind of had to fudge a row down by extending my total, I guess, chain. So I had a chain extra to get down there, stitch up, connect it to the stitch I needed, and then stitch back from there. It's not noticeable at all anymore. I'm quite proud of my fix tactics, which fortunately it was one that was on top as opposed to one that was below it, which would be much more difficult to fix. Uh, I've had to do that. I've had to add some extra stitches at the ends of rows twice, I think, because one got dropped or missed along the way somehow. And, you make those mistakes and you learn from them. But I know that's going to disappear in this. I was doing the math. I think the total number of stitches in this is like 105,000 roughly by the time that I'm done with just the base form, not including the bordering. And then I'd like to add some tassels to the corners, but those aren't really stitches. That's just something to make it feel a little bit more done. It feels weird to me to have a blanket of this size that's knit and not have a tassel on the corners. So I was debating doing tassels at the ends, but it's not really a throw blanket at this size. So we're doing tassels in the corners. And yeah, I'm very curious to see exactly how these things shape up because we're working from a concept on how I'm going to finish this as opposed to the knowledge of how best it is finished. Because I've never done a blanket, so this is also a first for me, is doing a project like this. And while I have done borders on other projects that are in a way similar, like making uh, the ribbing for a sweater, sure, totally fine. I made ribbing for my uh, cropped cardigan, which I don't know if I posted a photo, maybe just in case. I made it for my D&D character kind of outfit because I thought it was the right vibe, and it was just a project that I really wanted to pick up doing granny squares because I'd never done them before. And that was easy to tell where stitches were. I knew exactly where I needed to enter in and uh, pull off of stitches because it was worked in a square. So I don't have any sides of stitches. Everything I'm going to end up going into is the top of the stitch. Really easy to read. This, I have no idea how to read the sides. So I feel like a lot of this is going to be just going by feel and deciding what is correct for myself on making a border. I'll probably have to watch a video just to feel like, okay, I have an idea of how to keep it even, just so it doesn't like go off the rails. I would like to be able to keep it kind of consistent in shape and not have it move. At this size, I don't think that's terribly likely. But you never know. Better safe than sorry. I'd rather have put too much time and thought into something than not enough. So that'll be its own problem to figure out, and that's probably where I will be reapproaching doing a video with you all is when I hit that point where I've started the border and have decided it because I don't know if I'm building it in the round around the edges or if I'm just gonna make a little tail and do slip stitch only back loops to build out like a more of a ribbing texture that we might expect. No decision. Nothing has been made yet. I simply have enough time before this gets done that I don't need to think about it right now. Right now I should just be focused on completing the project. I do not need to place too much weight on exactly having everything planned as I reach it. I know that I talked about sewing, and one of the things is there was a sweater. I don't think I've actually mentioned this part. So when I first learned sewing, I know I talked about that I had done it with uh, my ex. We had done some cosplay and whatnot, so it was something I'd learned just by brute force rather than actually knowing what I was doing. I've reapproached it and I've learned some, but honestly, I've been away from it a little bit. I helped a friend with his costume for when we went to Fan Fusion, which was great. And it's nice to get to reconnect with some of that. But I do need to learn how to draft a pattern for myself. And so there is this hoodie, which Fila made. And while it was a woman's hoodie, I like the crop and the shaping of it, and as a person who runs really warm, I really want to get to make that. No, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before. So this year we're gonna get that done. I'm actually going to prioritize that. It's probably going to be in about September is the window that I think that I will be able to put time towards that project in particular. Let's be real, winter is maybe 2 weeks in Arizona, so I'm not that pressed about having to have it done. But it would be nice to have it done before October and kind of deciding what it's going to look like and have it finished so that when I go back to Oregon in October, that I have a new little hoodie to wear. Because I think that would be fun to get to bring along. I like getting to bring things that I've made to show people that I care about, things that I have had the opportunity to make. So I'm looking forward to reapproaching that uh, process because I've completed. So as far as sewing projects go, I've made some rat pants, which they were included in the photo of my D&D character cosplay, but you have these blue ones. And then I don't know if I have a picture of my other ones. I think I do. They make me look like Sam Smith. But you have them here, which was a more off the wall kind of coloring and pattern on the fabric. And I'm happy with how they turned out, but they are much simpler than maybe I would have chosen. And I do have uh, a higher difficulty stepped process for those that I want to explore that has buttons in the front and pockets and things like that. Uh, because I have a nicer linen that I would like to get to use to make a pair of those for myself, because I think that that would be the right kind of look. Now, when we talk about linen, I know that, oh man, I apologize, I'm forgetting her name. There is a YouTuber, I'll see if I can search her out and put her up in somewhere up here as like an image or in the description. She specializes in traditional means of clothing production. Things like doing hand sewing, older stitching methods, looking at classical fabrics, and being period accurate. And she put together a really awesome video about linen in particular, which I have not had too much of a care for linen in the past. But she was talking about just the different quality and where you can buy fabric for it. And it was spurred on because a major retailer for linen that was just kind of famous for forever ended up closing down. It was in Italy, and they no longer produce their linen. So, what was considered like one of the top standards for linen, they no longer make it. So, she was looking for other places that could meet the historical standards for high quality linen. There is so much detail that goes into actually producing a really good linen, like what that actually means for the quality of the fabric. Uh, so I don't think what I have is going to be in that category in particular, but it is a nice linen in the sense that it is soft and comfortable. It will wear faster because of that. So making some pants may not be the smartest thing, but they're not. I don't wear pants that frequently, being here in Arizona. Uh, so it's something that would be intermittently used throughout a season as opposed to something I'm wearing, every week as it comes out of the wash, like I will with a lot of my shorts, which get worn down much faster just because of the sheer volume of use. So I really want to reapproach that and get a little bit more skill under my belt with handling some parts of that process. Not that I think it would be difficult, just more of the time sink. It takes a bit of time to work through the differences in sewing patterns and understanding what's intended, getting the right fit, which now I have the right fit. So the second one that you saw with that more flowery pattern in yellows and browns and blue uh, really felt like the right size. I could tell once I put it on, I was like, this is sitting how I wanted it to with the blue pair that I made, which I still like, but it is not as correct feeling on the fit. And you can kind of tell. So it'd be nice to take those skills and that knowledge and finally make like, as I said, I like capstone projects and how I view my crafts, kind of complete out that set of pants. So yeah, we'll finish the pants saga. That's the next goal would be getting to complete that in terms of the world of sewing. I did buy some fabrics when I was in the LA Fabric District last year that I still have not used. I have a simple project to make some pillows. I mean, I guess I need to make a lot of pillows. Maybe we just need a pillow month. It's me doing projects to complete pillows. I bought some fabric. I also bought a friend some fabric, and I promised to make some pillows. So it'd be nice to finish those and have them done. I'm sure he would appreciate finally seeing that because I think that's been like a year and a half since I bought that fabric. The pillows are not that hard. I feel like I've avoided them even though it's sewing mostly a rectangle and then a zipper. Uh, so that would be nice to get done. Because some of them, I picked stuff that I wanted to be able to place outdoors. Not that I wouldn't also have it indoors in some capacity, but I don't really think it fits the coloring of anything throughout the inside of my house. So they may just get placed in like a vacuum bag, waiting for the appropriate season to take them back outside and use them there. And that's okay. So it'd be nice to get to complete those things. I need to get back on the horse of learning how to really, I'd almost say alter garments. Like it's been easy for me to do that with crochet. Like I'll adapt patterns pretty regularly for things that I need them to do. And a lot of times patterns have instructions on how to do that. They tell you what the stitch quantity is. So like I was mentioning with the scarf, it needs to be a 12 plus 10 set of stitches by the time you reach the end. So meaning like you need a multiple of 12 and then 10 past that to be able to enter the next set of stitches correctly. And I really want to make sure that it stays in that pattern and it tells you here's how you do that. For sewing, it's a little bit more freeform in how you taper things, how you, well, I guess tailor maybe is the more correct word of, we're going to alter our fit to make sure that it fits exactly how we want it. And there's a lot of things that I don't understand about how fabric interacts with our bodies, where it pulls, where things hold tension, and how to take advantage of that for shaping purposes that I would really be interested in getting to learn. So I think those are things that will all benefit me as I approach the idea of having to make my own sewing pattern for this hoodie, which may just be disassembling an existing hoodie and then drawing it out, because that might be easier than having to do it all from scratch. And just get it to fit the torso. I mean, I have muslin to build a frame for that. I could also just do the whole saran wrap duct tape method of building like a shell around my torso and using that, because sweatshirt fabric has 4-way stretch, so we can make it fit. So there's a lot of options. We have a lot of time to experiment and try things. But we are reaching kind of the end of the time that I have available to chat with you all today. Hopefully you've had an enjoyable time getting to listen to my ramblings whenever this does come out. I hope you enjoy getting to see it. And for my brother and his fiance, which will then be wife at the time of writing it, I'm super excited for you both. Truly, I have loved getting to work on this project. If you can't tell, it just becomes a mindless activity. I've gotten very good at doing this pattern in the time that I spent doing it. So I love you both dearly, and I am very much looking forward to getting to see your reaction to this project. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day. If you'd like to see more content, please do leave a like, subscribe, comment with what things you'd like to see me do, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.